All right. Well, thank you for joining. This is the Bosses Next Door. And as you can see, we don't have Nikki here today. We have a special guest, Jonas. Jonas is filling in with the trade of a sweatshirt, right?
Yes. Yeah. My first time doing a podcast.
That's right. Including all the other stuff that you've done.
Yeah.
So Jonas and I go way back. And so you're here in Arizona speaking at a Pest event, right?
Yep.
And so we just ran down, talked to him, held him hostage for a minute, showed him our shop. And I just thought maybe we could talk about kind of where we met, how we got going. Because I think what's really unique is that you and I mean, we were really small companies like when we first met.
I think most of us were.
No, that is the kind of the crazy point is, yeah, you're right, most of us. Please explain like your perspective on how you found like the academy and how that went about. Is that all right?
Of course. Yeah, I was in the field working still. I didn't even have my first employee at the time. But scheduling is becoming still a nightmare.
Yeah.
As everything is in my head.
Yeah.
And even though I have a really good memory, you can only remember so much.
That's right.
And then I think even back then, this was 2012, 11, 12, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And so there just wasn't really software. I didn't know it was a thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like using maybe Excel spreadsheets at the time. And still it's just a pain in the butt. Anytime there's a rescheduler, trying to like figure out how to move it on Excel and write it down in your notebook. Yeah. I use notebooks more than anything. So I was like, there has to be a better way. This is not cool. Yeah. I jumped online and I searched up lawn care software, and Service Autopilot popped up, and I was poking around through there and like, this is cool. Yeah. And I think back then, even Jonathan probably wasn't answering phones, but it was like one employee.
Because this is 2012, right?
Like right in there, yeah. 2012, 2013. Yeah. So I don't think JP was answering phones, just talked to someone else, but he didn't have much of a team. No. And and so I was like, this looks really cool. Watched their demos. They walked me through it, and I think I stayed up to like 4 a.m. that night. Yeah. And implemented all my customers that night. Really? Because back then you could. Now it's probably more of an onboarding process. But then they're just, here you go, you know? Yeah. And have at it. And so that next night I was laying in bed, and I was just looking through their website, like, this is pretty cool. And I think I found some of Jonathan's YouTube videos. So I'm like binging those. Yeah. And then I came across this video. There are 2 videos. Oh, okay. And clicked on one, and there's this guy named John the Costmaker. Yeah, man. Telling his story of like, you know, where you started, how long you've been in business, like all the challenges you were facing. Yeah. Where you guys have grown that past year. Yeah. The next video was Jordan Webb, kind of the same story.
His was a tearjerker though.
He was. Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, this is my tribe, like these are my people. Yeah. And like then I saw the price was like, I can't remember, $497 or $797, whatever it was. I was like, I can't afford that.
$797. I was elite. Oh my God.
Yeah, I was like, I can't afford that, you know? And so I was like, what do you think? And girlfriend at the time was like, I don't think you should do it. Yeah. I'm like, well, let's put on a credit card. It's month to month. If we don't like it, I'll bail. Yeah. And that's pretty much the story. I think I had to wait like 2 weeks. I had like a vetting process. That's right. And obviously it fit the criteria, which are probably like, I don't know, $250,000 or probably like $700,000. I'm going to guess that they're probably what they're looking at, you know, maybe $1 million, somewhere in there. I think Brandon was still like $400K, $350K. Yeah. We're doing like $250K. Yeah. And my first training was like 3 weeks later, and it was Google My Business. Yeah. And from that day on, I was hooked. Yeah. Like it's the first time like I consumed this information. Yeah. That I was addicted.
Right. Okay. Well. Okay. So real fast on that, because I agree with you. I think the Academy. So it was called the Academy, and so when we signed up. We were at the first event, and Nick and I couldn't afford to be at the event. We were making sandwiches in a room because we're so broke, and then we told that story a bunch of times. But we had an argument in the room to sign up because it's Academy, because it was like Jonathan and his brother Andrew, and so they're like, this is like, you got one opportunity and all this stuff. Like, and I'm like, I'm gonna do it. And so then I went up to Nikki and I had it out, man. So I was like, fine, I'm gonna turn it in, and I'm asking to wait. So I ran down there, I saw Jonathan, I was like, okay, here's my paperwork. My wife's pissed or whatever it was, and he's like, okay. And so we signed up, and I remember going into the monthly meetings or whatever they were. It was so much information. right? And I was just like, oh my God. And everybody was so like wanted to learn and trying to consume this information. It was almost overload for me anyways.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the stuff that they was even telling us back then probably didn't even resonate till 3 or 4 years later.
Absolutely.
It's too big for us even.
Absolutely. There's things that still I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember them doing this and this. And I just remember like, I thought the same thing, like, oh my God, everybody in here is like, I get along with everybody here. Everybody's having these same struggles or doing all these same things. And then I met you. We were at an academy event, and you told me like, "Dude, I watched your video."
Yeah.
I was like, "What?" And it just made
I remember saying to myself, "I want to be just like that guy."
Oh, that's so awesome, man.
And now you're like one of my best friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's pretty cool.
It is pretty amazing, and I think what's really interesting is I think, you know, at the very beginning, as you said, most of us have done really well. The Academy group is like, it was a very unique group of people. There was a core group and there was another, you know, outer group of it too that kind of dove in and out of it. But that core group of people, I feel, did
I
really,
mean, Jonathan's
really well.
Success rate from that group is probably in the 90s%.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's got to be really high because, you know, Mike Callahan, I ran into him, we're talking, and he said the same. He's like, dude, I miss the Academy. And I missed the people that were in the Academy. And I was like, yeah, man, I wonder how well everybody's doing. He's like, he deals with a lot of them. He's like, oh my gosh, man, that core was so successful. And I think it's like, I tell Jonathan, probably a little bit being corny, I'm like, dude, you guys, you helped me so much. You helped so many people. And he's like, and I was like, do you realize that? And he goes, well, everybody keeps telling me. Yeah. You know, I don't think he really understood the impact he had on people's lives.
Yeah, and that was the first time, though, that were like learning. I couldn't get enough of it. Up until that point, like in high school, college, I didn't even check out a book out of the library. Not one time. Never. I didn't study hard. I got good grades because I was smart enough.
Yeah.
I just didn't have like that. Didn't have that thing that just captured my attention that I wanted to go all in on. And then I started in business and I found this part of the world and I was like, I could sit here all day, every day, and learn. Well,
and I think the part of this is something that everybody out there needs to understand is that this isn't a half-hour session. This isn't an hour session.
It's a 4 or 5 hour.
4 or 5 deal. It'd be for me. I'm in Arizona. You're more
Eastern,
outside. Yeah, and so like it'd be 11 o'clock for me. We started at like 6 or
and it's like midnight, 1 o'clock.
Yeah, and Jonathan is just rolling. He's like, is everybody still good? And then you look, and not a lot of people drop off, especially in the beginning. Yeah. And you're like, damn, I'm so tired, you know? And then they would tell you, like, hey, we need these action items done. We need you guys to try to do whatever that is.
Yeah, and he had Rhonda there to hold us accountable.
Yeah.
You know, which was good.
Yeah, Rhonda's awesome.
And that was the good core group of people.
Yeah.
And I think another thing that Jonathan found out is, like, he had like the business page too on Facebook, and like one person would say like one wrong thing, and he had like just get slaughtered by all the Academy members.
Isn't that funny? Yeah. You're exactly right. Somebody would say one thing, and they'd be like, "Yeah," and there'd just be the attack of yeah.
But yeah, overall, a big impact on my life too, and I've had coaches since then, and I've met a lot of business owners.
Yeah.
And so every time that I've seen a big company, I pictured a Jonathan behind it.
Absolutely.
Probably not a good thing, but that's just what I assumed. You just don't know. Because you have such a high level with JP.
Yeah.
And then I go talk to these business owners that run huge companies, and I go talk to them. And every time I talk to those people, I got more confident in myself.
Yeah.
I was like, huh.
Yeah.
Like all that information that we soaked up for 8 years straight.
Well, Jonathan is on a pedestal.
For sure.
Or was on a pedestal.
Yeah,
like, for me, I still like look up to him. I think it's very unique. On a side note, I know you talked to Jonathan. I'd still talk to Jonathan, message him back and forth. Like he just asked about how Vegas was. And like, it's super cool that this person that I look up so highly is like such a down-to-earth guy.
And he considers us his best friends.
Which is wild.
It's so cool.
Yeah, it's so
Again,
cool.
It's like, I've said this a million times. It's the right place, right time. Someone was looking out for me to put me in that spot to meet him, and he changed my entire life.
Exactly right.
I mean, we were talking about fitness and sleep.
Yeah.
And wearing the watches and like whatever they were.
What the heck was that thing? Yeah. That's what realized I was only sleeping like an hour and a half to 2 hours a night. Didn't realize it. I just was tossing and turning. And then.
So it wasn't just business. It was like business and health and family. like all in one, how to manage it and the chaos and.
Yeah, when you should have, you're right, at the breaking point, you should have hired somebody, you should have already hired that person months ago, or you should have already looked at this, or here's some watch outs for. And like, it was just really interesting because I think that like in early days, I'd go look and be looking for information, and you go on these forums and people are like, what kind of mower do you use? And the blade pitch and all this.
Should I brand my trucks?
Yes.
Should I paint them?
Yes. And Jonathan was like, yes.
Doesn't matter.
Do that.
Yeah.
Who cares? And somebody asked, like, what kind of mowers actually? And he's like,
whichever one gives you the best service.
Yeah. Where's the supplier at?
Yeah.
Can you get parts?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Move on.
Yeah.
Right? Because I was like, you should not be thinking, like, yes, it's important, but like you need to be thinking big things, right? You need to take yourself like to the next level. He would take us to, on the academy trips, he'd take us to dinners and events. And I never...
Usually during our peak season too.
Yes, it was on purpose.
Yeah, it's early spring, getting us out of the business.
And it was amazing. First time I ever sat at like a multi-course meal dinner. That Nikki and I sat there and like we were just scared to death. I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do, right? And like it was really interesting to kind of pull you out. And my feeling, Nikki and I still talk about this all the time, is like he showed us like, hey, it's cool where you're at, but let me show you where you can go.
Yeah.
You know,
and that's what I think he did a really good job too, is showing us that we were capable.
Yeah. I think that's a good point. It shows what's capable. Because I've been around other people who, mentors or people that I'm trying to learn from, or I've taken classes, and I struggle because I struggle really. I can get good nuggets from them, and I can do that kind of stuff, but really relating to somebody, I think that like I do the same thing. I really compare everything that everybody I'm talking to Jonathan. You know, and
even when you ask him a question, every time you say something, his first response is, "Huh."
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he thinks on it. He just doesn't blurt out an answer. He thinks on it, and then when you get the answer, everyone in the room just shuts up.
Yeah.
Fast.
Well, so we bought the CRM system, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm messaging Jonathan and John, and so and I feel odd because I'm like, I'm not that caliber, right? Or I don't think I'm that caliber, but I'll ask him, and you're right. He'll send me a voice message that's probably
12 minutes long.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, there's two ways we could probably go about this, right? And or if you're referring to this, we'll go down this road.
It's amazing. There's certain people like, I'd say like Jonathan's a lot like Alex or Mosey.
Yeah.
Like the level of detail and the information that they hold in their brain is almost like an unfair advantage.
Unfair advantage. You're exactly right.
Like there's so much information bottled up in that brain. It's like, where does he store it all?
Yeah.
I feel like mine's always full.
Yeah.
And it just keeps coming from them.
But I think that's a good point. I love how he would sit back and be like, all right. It's not like, yeah, this is what it is.
Yeah.
Right?
You get the 12 to 1 hour answer.
Yeah.
That he can go deep on everything.
On everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I love it. I remember on an academy trip, I can't remember the guy's name. He's a young kid, good shape, and he was stressed out because he's there. His overhead was crazy high. He was losing money. And
Brock. Was it Brock?
Was it Brock?
I can't remember. Was it in Vegas? Man. It don't matter.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But Jonathan it was at Academy. It was at their conference, I think.
Okay.
And so it was like afterwards or whatever, Jonathan said, hey, let me catch up to you later. We're talking about it. So like he sat down at this little tiny table with him. It was Jonathan and this guy, and they walked through the whole thing. What's your problem? How are we going to deal with it? These are the action items. And like just took his time. He never seemed rushed to like talk to somebody. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I struggle with that sometimes. I'm getting like pinged all over the place. And he's like, if you're who I'm talking to, like that's who we're talking to.
Yeah, even still to this day, I think he keeps Facebook, Instagram off of his phone, doesn't look at it. He's really good at that.
Yeah.
He can lock in really, really well.
Yeah.
And it, like remember like those he talked about like seasons.
Yeah.
Like seasons of growth and seasons of different seasons, and like he's back in a season of like growth.
Going back
and he's locked in, and he works hard. And he goes really deep. I think it's cool. What were your favorite sessions?
My favorite sessions? Ooh, that's a good one. I think one of them that I was not ready for was like the finance session, right?
Yeah,
Jason Cubb gave it. And I was like, oh,
Cup
shit.
crushed it.
Yeah, but it was like, it was overload. On a side note to that, and I'll go back to the other ones, but the side note to that, Jonathan, we had joined the academy. It was Brad Bippis, myself, Tom Gillespie, Luke Stice. We had hired Jason Cupp to come out, and he came up to northern Arizona. Brad Bippis had his mom and dad's house or whatever. We rented that, and like we just pinched their money together to be able to get in there to learn about our finances. That's one of the first times I legitimately had like a massive headache, like a hangover, because it was so much information. I was like, oh my God, man. Because he was just like, no, do this. Because Jason Cupp is like, he's really good on the numbers.
Wizard, yeah.
I think that one, he made a comment once, and it's not a session, but like he didn't realize the impact on his trucks being all the same brand.
Yeah.
He's like, it's not something that's tangible right away, but over time, like everybody recognizes it, right? I love the idea of like thinking outside the box, right? What's the big picture? What's the whatever? I always told him like, I want to be at 20 million or 10 million. He's like, why? I'm like, well, because, I do this. He's like, so if you did 5 million at 20% net profit, that'd be pretty good, right? Yeah. And I'm like, interesting.
Right.
So what else? I think the finance one was probably the big one. The marketing, you said
dominating market.
Yeah, dominating market was
Levers.
Really good. Yes, levers was good. Really good. Wait, dominating market had the envelopes that we'd fill out, and you put a little bit of something in there because it wasn't completely flat. Like we put little
lumpy mail.
Yeah, lumpy mail. We put little GI Joe things in there and sent them out.
Yeah,
which probably worked better than I thought.
Yeah, and then there's another ones like what are they called? Like the welcome. Is the welcome package?
Yep.
Like that. Yeah, those were
We
good.
do a version of that still.
Yeah, you guys do. So do we. But ours is different than what it was back then. Like we don't put our insurance cards and stuff there anymore. But yeah, like the lead letter.
Yeah.
Like all that stuff works so good.
Do you still do lead letters?
I mean, it's automated now.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Not like in the mail, like back in the.
But I think there's some value to that.
Absolutely, mail. I agree. Like even he said that like, this stuff's so like old school marketing that still no one does it. It still works to them as it does today. I'm sure. Absolutely. I mean, we still do EDDM and we crush it.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is so crazy.
Yeah. We don't. I've never really gotten into that. We'll do door hangers. We do 9-arounds as well, right? We do like those kind of things.
But I think like the way I look at marketing is just different. Even because I just didn't know enough. But even though he told me all the things, as I get over my head, I always just look at your brand is the hub of your wheel.
Yep.
And then your marketing's all the spokes around it.
That's right.
And everything that you do is just a spoke. And if one spoke's missing, it's just not going to roll quite as smooth.
That's right.
So it's just doing a little bit of everything.
Well, you're exactly right. How many times do you see people like, oh, I do SEO. All right, cool. What else you do?
No, that's about it. And I think but like thinking back, and I talk to tons of business owners on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And all the things that got them 0 to $1 million, they stopped doing.
Yeah.
Because that's when like you had to put in the work, you had to do the door hangers, the flyers, paint the truck, all that stuff to grow.
Yeah.
And then you get a little bit more profit, you get a little more cash flow going through. You're not living like survival mode, not living a paycheck to paycheck. You have a little bit of money.
Yeah.
So you start spending money online on ads and you get comfortable because it's working. But all the things that got you there, they stopped doing it.
They stopped doing it. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
But it's not, what's really amazing, because we deal with a ton of business owners, and that's because of Call Boss and then the software company. Same. But why, okay, explain, why did you stop doing that?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
And they don't even know why they just stopped doing it. They probably weren't ever tracking to see how well it worked anyway. They're just sending them out. But then they got to a point where, again, they're not in survival mode anymore. But it's probably even worse is they just get comfortable. Yeah. And they get stuck right there forever. Yeah. Like how many people, back in the day, you get stuck at 800,000 to that million and sit there for 5 years.
So we were somewhere, I think it was at an Academy event, and they were asking everybody how their year ended. And Jonathan's like, what'd your year end at? And I didn't want to tell him because we were like $998,000. And he's like, oh, so close. And I was like, son of a bitch.
When the year before I sold the company, we did like 2.9997 or 8. And I was like, but back then, like I didn't have a full-time CFO.
Yeah.
maybe I was watching the revenue numbers, but not that close. But I was like, I'd have go sold my grandma to break up that $10 million mark.
Right.
I just didn't know.
That's right.
So then I was waiting for like 6 months to get my financials back from my bookkeeper back then. So.
Well, you wait, and you don't know what you don't know.
No, right.
You're tracking the wrong stuff. Right. You're like, what's our top line? Which is great.
Well, we're just waiting for it to show up in the CRM. But yeah, things have definitely changed since then.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's wild.
It is wild. And I just missed all that stuff. I miss Fun John.
Hey, I gave him that name.
Did you?
I did.
Yeah. Fun John used to drink a little bit and like be dancing with me all the time because he was safe.
Machine. Yeah.
He's like, you're safe. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like just super sweet people. I remember John telling a story, and it was early on, and then I remember him referencing that story later at a conference he was speaking at. It was basically like, guys, I remember my wife calling me and saying, hey, the credit card's not going through for groceries. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, I got to figure out how to get money over there so she can pay for groceries.
Yeah, me too.
And I was like, damn, man. Like, he's lived it. He's lived what I'm going through or have been through.
And I think most people in business, unless they had some capital to start with, they may inherited money, like all end up in the same spot. But I think that's why they say you got to kind of enjoy it too, right? Enjoy the climb, because like you get to look back and look on those days and like, oh yeah, we all went through that. I don't envy anyone there. That's just part of the journey. You got to enjoy it. It's hard to enjoy it in it, but afterwards, you have a great story to tell.
Well, do you look back ever and be like, damn, that was kind of freaking cool, or that was
like pivoting.
Yeah,
we're doing $3 million in revenue. COVID hits, and we pivot to pest control in a different state. And that was the first time I'd run a business that was a couple hours away, separate office.
Yeah.
And I've copied it 18 more times. So it's like, without that happening, like...
It forced you.
Yeah, it forced me. So yeah, like I look back at moments like that. Would most people have done that? Probably not.
No.
But I pivoted and it worked out, thankfully.
Yeah. And
there is some skill, I had learned a lot from JP and asked him a lot of questions, and that's just ended up what happened. But all the same strategies that he taught us then, we still use today. Yeah. Honestly.
Yeah. It's the same thing. We do a lot of the stuff that we learned before. Yeah. And it's like, I'm in the same boat. We talk to all these people, and they're like, well, I don't do this, I don't do that. And I'm like, well, it doesn't really work. I'm like, do you know it doesn't work?
Right.
Remember Alex Hormozy talking about the flyers? Like, he was like, guys put flyers on car doors when he owned a gym. And he's like, you don't do that. He's like, I put 300 out. And the guy's like, 300? Like, that's not even a sample size, man. Right. You have to like put out thousands and thousands, and then you get to understand if it works or not.
Agreed. Yeah.
And I think that's really interesting. So yeah, I think you talk about the journey. I think the journey really gives you like the foundation to be able to like to do the things you did, right? So like starting your pest control, then in not a franchise model, but opening multiple locations and doing those kind of things. I think if you didn't go through with it before, would you have been as successful, right?
Right.
I think a lot of what comes from us in like, it's personally, Nikki and I talk about like, we have 3 companies, not the best idea to have 3 companies running at the same time, especially when you're so involved in it. But it's like, if we didn't have the groundwork put in, starting Little John's, knowing Jonathan, John, and everybody, and all the people in the group, like we wouldn't have the tools and tool belt to be doing what we're doing today.
Yeah, I agree with that. And he just talks about, like, he told us so many times, like, this is just your first act.
Yeah.
You're going to have a second act. You're going to have a third act. And then your fifth, sixth, seventh. By the time you get to know, you're going to have a dozen acts.
Mm-hmm.
So that first lawn care act, which you still have yours, which is awesome.
Yeah.
There's just many more to come. So, like, you're on your 5th act. And every time that you learn a new skill, and now you know software.
Yeah.
Now you know the phone system and that side of the world. The landscape service side. Like, they could take it all away today, but it'll still be here, and you can go do it again tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely right. And it's kind of interesting, like the lawn care, we made a ton of mistakes. I mean, that's just what it is. He started the phone system, right? Call boss, and like that was like, oh, we already know what levers to pull, right? And so it was it's still hard. It's still a hard lift, but it was a little bit easier because we knew what to kind of do. And then you have the software company. Now, because the software company already had a foundation, but even now, like we're like, cool, but this is how you optimize what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And I think that has been really cool because I took what's in my tool belt and we've been able to make it work.
Yeah, and I think that's just the evolution of an entrepreneur that's always just wanting to get better and learn.
I think so too. And I think I have crazy goals. I have I want to make FU money.
Same.
Yeah, and I think having people like you, friends like you, and some of these other guys I can just call. And sometimes I'm just calling the BS, and sometimes I'm calling because I'm really trying to figure something out. Mm. And it's awesome because you guys all started where we started, and it's a great sounding board, right? Because you've spread your network, I've spread my network, and to be able to hey, what are you doing here? What are you doing there, right? And so I think that is super awesome,
Yeah, I've said this a million times. Yes, the academy was cool. The friendship's probably the coolest thing.
Yeah.
And then it's the people that you surround yourself with, like you just said. Well, you could be working on the same problem for 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
But you can literally pick up the phone and solve that question or that answer, have that answer solved in 10-minute phone call.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Thanks. Be on your way. Now you're moving fast,
Yeah.
So they say all the time that your net worth is equivalent to your network.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
In my opinion, you're always learning. And it's not like we know everything. No. We're still learning every single day. I just feel like we bat a better batting average than we did before.
Oh, absolutely right. And I think that I didn't realize how important a network was early in the game, right? I was just man, I'm going to outwork everybody. I need to survive, this, that, and the other. And as we've grown, and I treat people well, I want to treat people with respect, right? But as I've grown, I've learned man, a network of people is amazing, especially as you get into the software world. It's who do you know, right? That has opened up some doors for us that we wouldn't have done before.
For sure. And I think another good thing that Jonathan did is he made us look at the business from the 100-foot view a lot.
Yeah.
Like you just said, well, because that's who we are.
Yeah.
We're going to go outwork every single person, not let them catch us.
Yeah.
Which is great to begin with. And as you get older, you just don't have as much energy as you did back then to make those early years count.
Very true.
To make those early years count. But he made us, he pulled us out of the business in the busiest times and had us look at the business from crow's eye view, 100-foot view, and really look at the business different. Yeah. Try to detach yourself from it a little bit.
Yeah.
Not to work so much in it and start working on it. So I think I was doing $250,000 in revenue when I joined Academy. Went home after I started, right around the first call, second call, whatever. Hired my first employee. Met him at a dump site.
Yeah.
He begged me for a week, 2 weeks, and I told him no. Anyway, so he ends up working for me as my first employee. And then I could start working on the business. And
that's right.
I think that next year we had 2 or 3 chalks for close to $1 million within a year.
That's awesome.
Because you just get that. It's I always felt like I was good. Mm-hmm. I felt like a good operator. I always thought I was smart enough and good enough. I just didn't have the tools to do it.
That's right.
Now I feel like, with Jonathan's help and a lot of your friends' help, now you have a lot of tools in the tool belt, like you said, to go do it.
Yeah. I agree. I think what's interesting about what I am experiencing, or at least seeing, is that I feel like there's a lot of youngins out there that are getting open, and there's so much information out there available to them.
This is a bad thing.
Is a bad thing.
I agree.
Because they don't understand the why. Mm-hmm. So Jonathan used to talk about, they might take this because they see that we're doing this in our lawn care company or whatever, and they'll take this because they think it's oh yeah, if I do this, it's going to make me successful. Mm-hmm. They don't understand why we did that.
Yeah.
And they don't understand the process behind it.
And I think that, and the other flip side of that information is, like you said, it's information overload, where it's an information age. Yes, YouTube was just starting back then.
Yeah.
So JP was on there quite a bit. Other than that, there wasn't much information. She had to read books. But there's so much information now.
Yeah.
People forget to actually put in the work. And they just want to keep learning and not do anything with it.
That's
so that you can have the highest IQ, you can know what to do, but if you don't go implement it, then what's the point?
Well, you don't go implement, or you try to go from 1 to 10.
Right.
And there's all these other steps you need to be taking. Well, everybody else is making all this money. Everybody else is a multi-millionaire and whatever. I'm that's not true, man.
Yeah.
That.
They see it on social media. Yeah. It's all fake.
It's all fake. Yeah. I'm sure there's 1 or 2 out there, but I just don't see it, right?
I think, though, in the service industry, I really like it because early on, you can, maybe not year 1, but in year 1 with pest control, you could probably still maybe you do $90,000 in revenue. You could still make $50,000, yourself. Year 2, 70,000. Year 3, 90,000.
Yeah,
it's something longer. But that time, like you're in your 5th year, you can make 80, 90,000, $100,000 a year. That's what I like about the service industry. It's not like a rocket ship day one, but it's slow and steady growth.
Yeah,
and so people just don't realize how long that takes. Like they say, Jonas, man, you just came out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. I'm like, dude, I've been doing this for 17 years. They're like, oh. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like I started in pest control 5 years ago, but I've been in business for 17 years.
Yeah.
And so, I think there's just a lot of information out there that you just gotta, just take the good stuff and go run with it and put in the work. Because those early years, I had this talk today. Those early years in business really, really matter. And I compared it to Aaron Rodgers because I couldn't find a really good quarterback in Arizona. And I said that today on my talk. But I think of like. And JP's talked about this before too. Think of it like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers' first 5-year contract was like $5 million, $7 million. So he's averaging like $1 million a year.
Yeah.
He sat behind Brett Favre, who he learned from, for 2 years.
Yep.
And then they put him on the field, and he proved himself for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
But in his second contract was $100 million for a 5-year period. Right. So those early years in business, you feel like you're underpaid. Right, because you're like, I don't have any money. Like we're making food.
Yeah.
In our hotel room, making sandwiches. We can't afford it. We're only paying ourselves, $40,000 a year. But if you look at the long-term picture, you keep the business for 10, 20 years, forever. It's those first few years, but then you go exit, get your first exit. Say you were in business for 10 years and you cashed it at $10 million. Mm-hmm. Did you really only make $40,000 a year? Right. No, you made $1 million a year over 10 years.
That's right.
But it's just deferred gratification, delayed gratification. Right. But people see the online, everything looks good, and they see all this flashy stuff.
Yeah.
Even if it's a reputable company, they didn't get there overnight. They've been doing this for 10, 20. Like I talked to so many business owners that are doing 20, 30, 40, $50 million that all been in the industry for 40 years.
Yeah.
So you just got to stay in it a long time. And I think that most people either, like, I'll circle back to what I said earlier, they get complacent of where they're at because they're making $100,000 a year. Yep. And it's like the worst place to get.
They go buy their big trucks.
They go buy their big trucks. They get complacent. They're happy right there. They're making $100,000 a year, and they stop growing.
That's right.
So I just think that there's lots of money to be made in this industry, in any service-based industry. And you just got to stay in the game for a long time and not quit too early.
Exactly right.
And most people quit. Or, even worse, they get comfortable and they keep working that same job, make $100,000 a year.
Well, then they wonder why.
Right.
Like, well, man, how come I didn't grow? Chase Coates said it too. I remember Chase Coates guy. He's like, man, people are telling me like, man, you're so lucky because that was when he got that new shop. He's like, took me 14 years to get here, man.
Yeah, he started in high school.
Yeah.
The dude, I mean, Chase is a great example. Chase, shout out to you.
Yep.
And the kid's in high school. He's in the phone directory, cold calling people as he's driving down the road.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what 15-year-old kid does that?
Yeah.
It's hard to find. And there's a few people that I've met that are on my team that are really young, 15, well, like one's 15. The rest of them are like 18, 19, that are hungry and killers, that are willing to do that. And it's those people who are going to win.
That's exactly right.
You have to just go execute. It sucks.
Yeah.
It's going to take a long time, but with people like yourself in your corner, me in your corner, like we can expedite that time.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So I'll just get off my soapbox, but it just takes a long time. It takes longer than what people think it's going to. And it's going to be a lot harder than what people think it's going to be.
Yeah, it's not easy. And there's like, we talk about like, Nikki, we may have a joke that we talk about where they're just too dumb to fail because like there's many times and you own business, you're going to want to give up. You're like, dude, screw this, man. Yeah,
you're going to be at the highest high. Yeah. And in the lowest low within the same hour.
Yeah.
In the same day.
That's exactly right. Like and you got to wake up every day and do it over again. Like, yep, let's do it, man.
Yeah, there's 1 hour, like you're on top of the world, like you've closed a big deal. And that's the next phone call you get, my truck started on fire, you want to quit it, you just want to throw everything away and quit.
That's right.
All on the same day.
All on the same day.
But again, if I deposited that $100,000 into your bank account every single month, would the job feel different?
I don't know. Yes, probably.
Probably. Yeah. But that's the end game.
Yeah.
So these early years, or as we're growing, Like, we have to remember that.
Yeah.
That's why we're staying in the game.
Well, it's the instant gratification that I think, like you're talking about the youngins, like they figure, the ones that are really hungry and understand it, like understand, hey, if I put this work in, this is what can happen. It's not a guarantee, but man, you put that work in, this is what could happen, and you have a better chance of it happening than the rest of these people. Like, it's super enticing.
Yeah, and I've mentored so many of my own guys.
Yeah.
So I think I have a pretty good track record.
Yeah.
Like, they just follow the recipe, they're going to financially be set.
Yeah.
At some point in life. Like, a couple guys work with me, James, Dylan, or more guys than that, but just two off the top of my head, that all own multiple offices, doing millions of dollars in revenue, and they're 27 to 30 years old.
Isn't that amazing?
I've been here for 4 years, and kids are worth probably 10 million bucks already.
Yeah.
On paper, anyway. Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
No, it's super awesome, man. I think that's the part that's like really enticing. Like, we have a thing, speaking of employees, like at Little John's, like, we want to pay you better than anybody else. And our field guys get paid better than anybody else because the way we pay.
And I know that the best companies in the marketplace always have the nicest trucks.
Yep.
They also have the best employees. They also have the best retention, and they're charging the most.
That's right. Because you got to pay for them, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But if you charge your customers premium, and you treat your business as a premium, you hold the highest standard, that's just what you get in return.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And that's our goal for all of our companies. Our goal is like, how do we make enough money, or how do we make amazing money to where we can make sure that our employees are taken care of? Because your employees are taken care of, you have a great business, and you have great like culture, then they're going to take care of you, right? And they're going to make sure that like that standard is held. Some
of the best text messages, or wherever they're coming from, are from your employees saying that you changed your life.
Yeah.
And they might not tell you in public.
Yeah.
But in private, and they text those, like, it's a really, really good feeling.
Oh, it's super cool. We had it happen on Saturday. We picked up this contract, and there's a bunch of properties, and they dumped a bunch on us last second. We brought 2 trucks in to come and work on Saturday. I went down to Tucson to cover. I'll have to do that, but I was trying to limit the amount of people who had to come in on a Saturday, because they have families. But one of the guys out told us, Nikki and I went on the back. He's like, man, like, what you guys do is you literally change our lives. Yeah. And I'm like, that's cool, man.
It's really cool.
Yep. I just want to keep it going,
Yeah. So, the podcast, tell me a little about it.
Man. Okay. The podcast is, I do it for 2 reasons. One reason was pretty selfish. I do it probably more than 2.
But honestly,
yeah,
it's part of it.
It's part of it. Yeah. Selfishly is because my wife and I have been together 26 years. I adore my wife. I love my wife, right? And like, I want to be with her forever. And like, owning businesses, we're like going 100 miles an hour, and we're not always in the same direction, right? We're not pinging off of stuff. But I want to tell our story, and it gives us the time when we put our phones down and we sit in here for an hour and we have a conversation. And I think that's been really cool because it's a way for us to connect. Fair?
Yeah.
The other one is like, because we're married and because we have these things together, I think people want to hear that experience, or know that like, hey, you know what? There's other couples out there doing it, and like, here's business that we've done and how we do it and mistakes we made. And then the third, I think, is it's a great documentary. It's a great document for our kids as they get older.
I agree.
What about you? Tell me about your podcast, man.
You know the story. I started it in my basement. I was recording on Zoom, unfinished basement. Honestly, it started because Academy had just broken up.
Yep.
Or right at the end of Academy, and everyone kept saying that someone should do a podcast.
Yeah.
And no one did it, and I wanted to connect with everyone.
Yeah.
Keep it connected, so I just turned on Zoom. And now we're like close to 200 episodes in, the largest podcast in the industry.
That's awesome.
It was never for that reason. And I turned down 6 figures a year of sponsorships because I don't want people to be sold something all the time.
Yeah.
Not to say that I'll never do it, but selfishly, I get to talk to people like yourself every single day. Yeah. I get to learn, and the listeners get to learn with me. And then, like, the YouTube channels and all that, like, it is the coolest thing.
Yeah.
When you walk into, like, I walk into my theater room, and my kids are watching my YouTube videos. Like, they will have those videos when I'm long gone.
That's right.
And so they'll have a library. Like, by then there'll probably be holograms or who knows, like, just And so there's much information that I can feed it.
Yeah.
That my kids will get to see, like, the come up.
Yep.
Like what I was going through, how I was thinking.
That's right.
And it'll always be out there for them, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, that part I really like enjoy. Like I like that part of it too, is because I have one of our daughters is involved in our business. You know, our kids are older. You have a 16-year-old now too, right? As your oldest. But like, you know, I just want to, like, as they grow up, because they're living their own lives right now. You know, and I want them to see, like, hey, what was mom and dad going through? How they get here or there? You know, how successful did they end up becoming? How did it start, or maybe not? Did they make where they thought they were going to get to? Right. And I think
I go back to videos from like 2012, me and starting the lawn care company. I just shake my head.
I have one. I'm like, yes, I have one we had to make for the academy, and it was like, hello, my name's John. You know.
Yeah.
But it was like, I just chuckle at it. I'm like, man, that was the stage of my life at that, you know.
And I don't know how long we're going, but like I think another evolution that you and I talked about earlier is like how many people.
Go however long you want to. I mean,
like in our network, even maybe not academy friends, but early on, it's like they're stuck in the grind. They don't take care of themselves.
Yeah.
They're eating like crap because they're going to the gas station or going to McDonald's for lunch, breakfast, and then they're overweight. And then all of a sudden, like you start to grow the company, you get a little bit more free time, quote unquote, right? But you don't have to be in the trenches every single day. You can work on the business. And all of a sudden you see the transition of all those people, majority of people start working on their health and their fitness and longevity. Yeah. The amount of people that I've seen just in our group has been life-changing too. Like how many of my friends stopped drinking. Yeah. They totally changed their health and they're lost weight. They're in great shape, like yourself, Brandon, Steve, like I could go on and on. It's Chris Thacker, like all these guys that are in super good shape. It's just interesting to see. Dave White, fit as heck. Yeah, it's crazy. We've all come a long way. We've all been through a lot too, you know. Well, we were also like train wrecks because we were drinking the shit out of stuff. we were coming in town like, let's go. And we were train wrecks for sure. I think you sent me a picture like it wasn't that long ago. You sent me a picture. You said like this is a throwback or something, and I said cheers. We were both holding. Oh, that's right. We're still at the table. Yeah. And I just look back at those times. I'm like, dude, we would go there, and the whole purpose was like we were gonna have the best time, and we're gonna get wrecked. Yeah, and we worked hard. I mean, played hard. We played hard, which is great. Like we had a lot of fun. So like going to these new other events, I figured they were all the same, and then I found one, and it was like during COVID, we were all playing Topgolf. And everyone was drinking. They brought out this big tray of drinks. I go grab my drink, walked over, smacked some balls. Came back, went to go grab my second beer. All those same drinks were right there still. Really? And then I looked around, I was the only one drinking. I was like, oh, crap. Yeah. I mean, granted, I was in Utah, so they're all Mormons. Yeah, anyway. But I didn't even put it all together back then. Yeah. And at the same time, 75 Hard was a thing. It was like just coming on, too. So I was like, I started 75 Hard. Then I was 75 days of fitness, getting in shape, not drinking. And then there's like a game against myself. Like, I feel so good. Why would I stop? So then I went 6 months. Yeah. And then I got to 6 months. I'm like, well, I can't stop at 6 months. Let's go a year. Yeah. And then I just haven't stopped since. Haven't picked up a beer since. So it's just cool, like the evolution that you see yourself and other people go through. Yeah, I was sick. I got really sick, and then on a last academy trip, came home, just felt awful. Went to a naturopath, and they're like, "Hey, you tried that for a couple of years, eh? What's that? You tried that for a couple of years, a naturopath? Man, I still I prefer a naturopath. Yeah, cool. But when I got my results back, she's like, "Hey, you got two choices." I literally cut everything. I cut everything I was allergic out like the same day, and then I cut alcohol out, everything. Yeah. And I just have never looked back. Never been interested in it again. Yeah, I don't miss it. And a lot of people ask, like, don't you miss it? I'm like, no. Now I have nightmares that I wake up, like I'll wake up that like I'll have a dream, like I say nightmare. Yeah. That I'm drunk. Or I'm like I'm driving backwards in my Audi, like I don't know, weird dreams. And then I wake up, I'm like, oh my God. Like sweating, I'm like, thank God. And I just don't miss it. And I see so many people, not that there's anything wrong with drinking, because there's not. I don't have an issue with it, but I see so many people, small town, that they just get consumed with a small town. They're in a bar every night. And Man, if they just don't know what they don't know, I wish I could get in their head and change
Oh,
it.
you're exactly right. They don't know what they don't know. And they're going to be like, yeah, they just think it's all, just normal.
Yeah.
And I think, man,
probably is normal. I think we're probably like the 1%ers.
Probably. But there's so much more to life.
There is.
And I think now, like, I'm getting older and, like, I'm building something I think great. And, like, I want to be around a long time to experience it. And I want to, like, I want to be the best version of myself.
Yeah.
So we're, like, getting ready for Coachella. So Coachella is like this massive concert out of California. It's like 3 days. My daughters have gone. They talked to me into going last year.
I remember this. Yeah.
Drug my wife. She did not want to go. And anyway, so she went. Now she's like, we're going back. I'm like, all right, cool. So we're all going back again. I literally am cutting weight right now to make sure I'm in the best shape as possible when I go to Coachella.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's just like little games I start playing with myself.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I try to eat clean all the time and take care of myself, go to the gym every day.
Yeah.
I know it's 5 a.m. this time, but it's like 8 or 7 a.m. my time, so I feel like I was in the gym super early, but it was because it's dark outside.
Yeah.
But try to go to the gym every day. I have to start, you're like yourself, I have to start my days off that way. Yeah. I just feel off.
Yeah, absolutely. I go to the gym at 3:30, so I get up at 3, go to the gym at 3:30 in the morning. And then if I don't go to the gym, I go for like a 2 to 3 mile walk.
Yeah, first thing in the morning. Phone call.
Yeah. Hey, what are you doing? Because like...
Do jackhammers outside.
Right? That's down like construction down here, yeah. So like I'm just always like my mind.
You usually walk into Starbucks, and then I hear your Starbucks order. I would think I would know your whole Starbucks order at this point.
Dude, Luke Stice used to make fun of me. He's like, Americano with coconut milk.
Know something.
Yeah. What is it? Well, I get an Americano extra shot with coconut milk. No.
Yeah.
That's what I get now.
Right.
But yeah, Luke Stice used to be like, oh, I can order it for you. And I just laugh at him, man. Yeah. But that's probably the only thing I have that I'm like, I drink too much coffee.
That's not a problem.
No.
I drink energy drinks. Whatever.
Yeah.
There's worse things.
That's right. I eat super healthy. I weigh all my food.
Right. I hear I'm justifying it. But
that's right.
And honestly, I don't even like them for the energy. I just like the taste of them.
Taste them.
Yeah. And then I have an addictive personality.
Yeah.
So when I find something that I like, like that's all I'll drink for like 2 years.
Really?
Yeah, it's super weird. I'm glad I never like got into drugs or anything because I know if I tried, I'd be hooked.
You're like, this is what I like.
Yeah, so I'm glad that I stayed away from that. But I'm a super addicted person. It's probably with work too. Like when I walked in, like I can't shut it off. And it depends who you ask if it's whether it's a gift or a curse.
Well, look, I met you at lunch today, and I like sat there and I was just like banging off people, and I feel kind of bad afterwards. Like, I probably should have like not threw so many zingers out there and like asked the questions, but my mind's always thinking about work.
And then next thing you're like, hey, you should come check out my shop sometime. Cool, let's go right now. No, so we're on a podcast.
Yeah. Well,
bunch of quick starts running around.
There's a bunch of quick starts running around. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. So go get a Colby test. You didn't have that Colby test because that shit changed my life.
Yeah. How do you want to end this thing?
Well, I appreciate being on.
Of course.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And we'll see you on the next one. All right.
I'm not Nikki.
Yeah, not Nikki. That's right. That's right.
See you.